Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to plunge right into stories that stick with you, pulling out those bits of wisdom that, help connect the dots. Today we're talking about those winding paths love and friendship can take. And the whole idea, it's often pretty heartbreaking of the right person, wrong time. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Can that really deep, lasting love actually start as just friendship? Can it survive years of, well, missed chances and things left unsaid, all those what ifs? So, yeah, we're doing a deep dive into Emily Henry's super popular novel, People We Meet on Vacation. If you've ever felt that ache of longing, or just the comfort of a real friend, or even the buzz of travel, this story probably speaks to you. It's this really beautifully told story about a love that takes its own sweet time, sometimes painfully sweet.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to unpack. It's a contemporary romance, came out in 2021. But honestly, its reach goes way beyond just that genre label. What's really striking about it, I think, is how well it explores things like emotional honesty, figuring out who you are versus what actually makes you happy. And crucially, the role of communication, or maybe more accurately, the lack of communication, which can be so painful in any relationship, right? Especially one as complex as Poppy and Alex's. So our mission today is to really trace their journey, pull out the key insights from this story, and show how this love story, rooted so deeply in friendship, takes all these detours before it finally clicks.
Okay, so let's start with the people at the center of it all. Poppy Wright and Alex Nilsson. From the get-go, you see they're like total opposites,
Yeah,
almost hilariously
that
so.
is, yeah.
Poppy is just wild, spontaneous, full of sunshine, always looking for the next adventure.
Right, and then you have Alex. He's the calm, responsible one. You just picture him in khakis,
Yeah.
steady, consistent.
Totally. But somehow, despite being polar opposites, they meet in college and somehow become these incredibly close best friends, against all odds, really.
And that contrast, that sort of magnetic pull between opposites, it really forms the heart of their connection. The whole setup is that for 10 years, think about that, 10 years, even though they lived in different cities, had totally different lives, all that stuff, they kept this tradition going. Once a year, every summer, they took a vacation together, just the two of them.
Wow, 10 years.
Yeah. And this tradition, it really became the backbone of their relationship. It was this like protected space for their bond, away from their normal lives, their little bubble.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. What was so special about that dynamic? Why did it work for so long? The book talks about their banter being electric, their friendship honest and intimate. They clearly got each other on a really deep level. Soulmates, but platonic ones, right?
Absolutely. The chemistry between them is undeniable. It just jumps off the page. And yet, and this is the kicker, for all those years, they always denied there was anything romantic going on. Always.
Uh-huh. That classic will they or won't they, just dancing around it carefully. So for a decade, this trip is their thing. They're constant. But then 2 years before the book's main timeline starts, it all stops. Abruptly. Something big, clearly something shattering, happens on their last trip that just breaks everything. Leads to total silence.
Yep. Total silence. It had to be significant to break a bond like that. And that pivotal moment, the thing that causes the break, it happens 2 summers prior on a trip to Croatia. It was there, after all those years of unspoken stuff, that Poppy and Alex finally act on their feelings. They kiss.
The big moment, finally.
You'd think, but what's so fascinating and honestly kind of heartbreaking here is that this kiss, this moment they both probably dreamed about,
Yeah.
it doesn't bring them closer. Instead, it leads to this really awkward, painful aftermath. It actually pushes them apart completely.
So the moment of connection actually caused the disconnection.
Precisely. It just highlights that huge risk. When a deep friendship crosses that line into romance, it blew up. And the immediate result, devastating. They stopped speaking entirely, not a word since Croatia. This 2-year silence, it's not just a plot point. It's the whole setup for the present-day story, showing just how deep that fracture was and how much unresolved stuff is hanging between them.
Okay, so that brings us to this summer, the present timeline of the book. Poppy's living this seemingly glamorous life in New York. She's a successful travel writer, but she's feeling totally burnt out, just adrift. And she has this realization, this jolt, that the last time she felt genuinely happy, truly happy, was on those trips with Alex.
That unhappiness becomes the catalyst.
Yeah.
It pushes her to finally break that 2-year silence.
Yeah.
And she reaches out to him, kind of a Hail Mary, really. And Alex, well, he agrees. Reluctantly, maybe out of habit or maybe a little bit of hope still lingering, he agrees to one more trip.
One last chance.
One last chance. Destination. Palm Springs. And the vibe on this trip, It's tense. You can feel it. It's literally hot. The AC is broken, which adds to the discomfort. But the emotional tension is just thick.
Yeah, I bet.
They're both doing this awkward dance around what happened, avoiding the elephant in the room. Poppy wants to talk about it, you can tell.
But Alex is dodging it.
Completely. Maybe he's scared, maybe protecting himself. Who knows?
Hmm.
But he's avoiding that conversation.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Even with all that tension, the silence, the awkwardness, that chemistry, it's still there. You can't miss it. It's like this spark that just refuses to go out no matter what.
Right. It really underlines how deep their connection is. Despite all the pain and the things left unsaid, it tells you their story isn't quite finished.
Okay, so this tension, this chemistry, it has to lead somewhere, right? It builds and builds, and it does. It leads to the emotional climax. Poppy just,
Wow.
she can't hold it in anymore. She hits her breaking point. She finally confronts her feelings, lays it all out there for Alex, super raw, super honest, tells him she loves him, always has, and she's done pretending.
It's a huge moment of vulnerability for her, just
Yeah.
putting it all on the line. And Alex's reaction, it's complicated. It's painful for him. He doesn't just jump into her arms. He pulls back. He tells her he's exhausted. Exhausted from being her in-between. That's the word he uses.
Ooh, in between. That's rough.
Yeah, it's him saying basically, I've been waiting for you, feeling like I'm just here waiting for you to finally choose me, choose us. It really captures that theme of timing, and the pain of those unspoken expectations building up over years. It shows how even real love can get strained when one person feels like they're just waiting.
So Poppy's heartbroken by this. Understandably, she goes back to New York, back to her job, thinking, okay, maybe I really did blow it. Maybe it's too late. But then she has this other realization, a really powerful one. She figures out she's not happy. Not in New York, not with the fancy travel job. None of it matters if Alex isn't in her life.
Exactly. That's her big moment of clarity. It's that whole identity versus fulfillment thing playing out. She learns that the success, the freedom, the adventures, they don't mean much without that deep emotional connection, without him.
It's about finding what actually makes you whole, right? Not just what looks good on paper.
Precisely. So the story wraps up with her acting on this. She decides to go back to Linfield, Ohio, their hometown, the place where it all started. She goes back to tell Alex the truth. No more fear, no more pretending, just everything on the table.
Does it work?
It does. The relief. He still loves her too.
Yeah.
It's this moment where after a decade of dancing around it, missing cues, being scared, they finally choose to stop running. They choose the love that's been right there the whole time. And that phrase, choosing to stop waiting, that feels really significant.
Yeah, taking control, not just letting life happen.
Exactly. Taking agency, embracing the connection that was always there, just waiting for them to be brave enough. Choosing each other, finally.
So when you follow their whole journey, all the ups and downs, it's clear this is more than just a sweet love story. It really digs into themes that, well, feel pretty relevant to all of us. So what does it all mean? Let's really get into these themes Emily Henry explores, because there's a lot there.
For sure. Okay, first up, obviously the friends to lovers thing. But it's not like instant fireworks. It's that slow burn. It really shows how love can grow out of that deep foundational friendship, built on shared history, inside jokes, just knowing someone.
Right. It feels earned because of that history.
Yeah, and it shows that kind of love, born from friendship, can be incredibly strong. But it also has its own unique challenges, like how do you risk changing something so good? Which leads right into the next big one, emotional honesty. Or maybe the lack of it. The book is so good at showing how fear of messing things up, fear of not being good enough, fear of rejection, how it can just paralyze you.
Yeah, keep you from going after what you really want.
Totally. That fear of ruining the friendship becomes this cage they put themselves in. All those years of not saying the thing, it causes so much quiet pain. Makes you wonder if playing it safe is worth it.
And then there's Poppy's whole journey. That identity versus fulfillment theme. She spends years building this life that looks successful from the outside, right? Travel writer, independent, free.
Right. But she learns that the shiny job, the freedom, it doesn't actually equal happiness if you're missing that core emotional connection. It's like a coming-of-age thing, figuring out what truly makes you feel whole, not just what society tells you success looks like. Often it's realizing your connections are the real treasure.
So true. And the last big one you mentioned.
Communication and miscommunication.
Yeah.
This one feels so painfully real. So much of their heartache, the whole 2-year gap, it comes directly from not talking honestly. They make assumptions, they dance around their feelings, they just don't say what they need or want.
It's maddening, but also super relatable.
Exactly. It highlights how often miscommunication or just silence leads to unnecessary pain and regret in real life. A reminder that sometimes the biggest hurdles are the words we don't say.
And it's not just the themes, it's how she writes it. Emily Henry's style just pulls you in. People talk about it being funny, heartfelt, layered. The dialogue is so sharp and witty. It makes their interactions feel real and just fun to read.
Totally. But then, wham, she hits you with these emotional moments that just land so powerfully. That mix of humor and genuine feeling is kind of her trademark, isn't it?
It really is. No wonder people compare it to classics like When Harry Met Sally, the Friends to Lovers gold standard, or One Day with its timeline structure, and even her other hit, Beach Read.
Exactly. And I think readers connect with it so much because, one, it's really character-driven. You get invested in Poppy and Alex. You feel their journey. Two, the travel isn't just scenery. It's a metaphor, right, for their growth, how the relationship changes with each trip.
Yeah, each trip marks a different stage.
Right. And ultimately, it just delivers this really satisfying experience. It's emotional. It's romantic. It makes you feel a bit nostalgic somehow. And it feels grounded. It's a love story built on friendship, not some perfect fantasy. It's messy. And that makes it feel real.
So, wrapping it all up, People We Meet on Vacation isn't just a beach read, though it's great for that too. It's this really thoughtful look at timing, at emotional risk. And, maybe most importantly, the courage it takes to stop just waiting around for life or love to happen to you.
Yeah, it's about actively choosing your path, choosing your person, even if it takes you a decade to figure it out. And thinking about Poppy and Alex's whole journey, it definitely makes you wonder, doesn't it? How often do we maybe miss out on deep connections because we're just afraid? Afraid to be vulnerable, afraid to just say what we actually feel.
That's a powerful question to sit with. So, for you listening, what stands out from Poppy and Alex's story? Have you ever been in a spot where timing felt like everything? Or where not communicating caused a friendship, or maybe more, to kind of fall apart? Definitely something to reflect on, those lessons about love, friendship, and just the bravery of being honest with others, and maybe even more so with yourself. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.